if someone handed you 1 lakh rupees right now, what would you do? No conditions.
I'll just buy physical gold.
What is the single biggest financial mistake which you feel that you're kind of ashamed of, but you're ready to accept it and you move forward from that?
So I paid my home loan at one go. It's pronounced as NYVO, abbreviation for new voice. Everyone, even the customer has 500 rupees or 500 crore, can get the best advice that is possible that the 0.5% is getting.
So as you said, you were able to add gold for bullet.
Yeah.
Right. Their aim is not to tell if buying bullet is right now or not. They will just tell you invest in this portfolio for buying the bullet. That we don't want to do.
Hey, hi Harsh, hi Kshitij. Welcome to India Wealth Stories. And today, not rhetorically talking about where you come from, how has your background been, I'll straight away go to the very first question that comes to my mind. When did you earn your very first rupee and what did you do with it?
So for me, I was in 10th class back in 2002.
Okay.
So mobile phones used to be big craze, but the main mobile phones were very expensive. The new mobile phone were very expensive.
The keypad ones.
The keypad ones, the 6600, 1100. So I started selling second-hand mobiles.
Oh,
so
nice.
I used to buy it for 10,000 and sell it for 11,000. So that's the first time I started earning money.
At that time, you realized that it has to be sold for 11,000. That margin.
Yeah, margin. This was like more about demand and supply. So one of my best sellers was this Nokia 2100 white color screen, white color light.
Okay.
So that's.
Kshitij, how about you?
For me, I think the first money earned was scholarship that I received. It was for after my 12th result. It was for 10,000 rupees only. And because I was going to college, that was a huge amount for me.
10,000 at that time, college was a huge amount,
and
right?
it really helped me do spending during my college time.
First
For
2-3 months, definitely, right?
Yeah, for some parties and all.
Great. I think the second question that comes to my mind is, okay, yes, you earned something, you learned the value of money, but what is the single biggest financial mistake which you feel that you're kind of ashamed of, but you're ready to accept it and you move forward from that?
So I paid my home loan at one go. So I got a very big bonus and then just used that money and just paid my home loan at one go.
But we realize that the home loan is the lowest interest rate loan that you can ever get.
But if I would have invested that money in index funds, I would have had 3 times and then would have paid my home loan. But it is what it is. But it is okay. I have accepted this as a mistake.
How do you say it? Similar story or a different one?
No, a different one. So actually, during COVID, the market fell a lot, right? And at that time, I had some investment. I got jittery.
Okay.
So market started recovering, but when I saw that my market has recovered a bit, my portfolio is slightly up, I just sold all the amount, even though I didn't need it.
Most of the people did that. They were like, oh, dobara niche chale jayega.
Right.
They would have had that.
That time the market would have been somewhere around 40,000, and within the next 5 years it was 80,000.
80,000. Yeah.
And I lost completely that opportunity.
That
money, I just expensed it and it didn't grow.
I think that happens with mutual funds because you have that liquidity. So if you get that opportunity, you feel like selling it the moment it goes up. That brings me to the third question I have in my mind is that if someone handed you 1 lakh rupees right now, what would you do with it? No conditions.
I'll just buy physical gold.
Okay, and that brings me to a follow-up question. Why physical gold? Because everyone talks about buying an ETF, buying gold Bs, you should invest in gold mutual funds, go digital. Why physical?
One of the best part of physical gold is that, like think about our mothers, they also have that Stridhan. We never sell it. So if 1 lakh rupees is available, which I am getting for the heck of it, and so it's much better to buy a gold and just forget about it.
Because 1 lakh there's nothing big or I would say stupendous you can buy, right? So you would rather want to keep it somewhere and forget about it.
Forget about it.
Okay, that's a good answer I would say. What about you, Kshitij?
I would just go and invest in Nifty 50 index fund.
Its valuation is good right now.
Yeah, exactly. The markets are down. I think I got 1 lakh. I will invest.
So for the viewers watching, I think that's a perfect thing. You got one answer saying invest in physical gold rather than digital one, and the second answer says Nifty is at a good valuation. Not a recommendation, but it's an answer from SEBI registered advisors, so probably you can take that into consideration. Okay, that brings me to another interesting question that I have in my mind is that there are habits which we learn while growing up in a house, right? So what is that one habit which you learned from your parents that you would want to thank them for, and one habit which you would want to unlearn?
Interesting, let me think. So one habit which my mother taught me is that saving little bit also is very important.
Correct.
So when I started my job, my salary was 18k. Okay, even that I was saving little bit. So one habit of hers.
You were saving in which city, if you could share that?
So I was in Bombay and living in Bombay for 18,000 back in 2009. That time also it was very difficult. But still I used to save even 500 rupees, 1000 rupees.
Okay.
So
nice.
that was a great habit. One thing I want to unlearn is from my mother also, is that for her saving means that अलमारी में रख दो पैसे, ठीक है, और वो सेव हो गया.
Put it in a गुल्लक,
किचन कहीं पर नहीं रख दो, कहीं पे भी हाँ मतलब रख दो and वो सेव हो गया है. तो वो बहुत ही खराब तरीका है. It's a very wrong way of thinking about it. I think you should make your money work.
Yeah.
Invest
So
in
it's
the right
a financial instrument. You would want to choose the right one. So that's
Correct.
something you learned over time. Kshitij, how about you?
I would say I learned budgeting a lot from my parents. So I always used to get pocket money.
Okay.
Be it second standard, be it fifth standard, be it 10th standard, be it my college.
So second standard, I'm guessing it would be for an ice cream
It would be
that
10,
you would
20
want to have.
It would be 10, 20 rupees during
Yeah.
second standard. 10th, it would be 100 rupees. College, I used to get 1500 kind of rupees per month.
With inflation, it was adjusted, and
Yeah.
how you grow up.
Obviously, I have grown up as well. So that way. So I think budgeting was the habit that they instilled into me, and that was really great, and
Great.
it's really helped me till now as well.
Yeah.
What I would unlearn is over budgeting. Basically, because of that habit, I still 3-4 years back I used to calculate spend of 200-300 rupees where I spent.
You would calculate how much average your car is giving, how much petrol is it consuming.
This is why I can also second it. Used to over budget everything, and I think they've had a lot of fights around this.
Exactly. So my wife got irritated with me about this over budgeting.
So you should take that out of your brain memory a little bit, right?
Exactly. The minor spends you need to leave it because they take much more mental bandwidth than actually they give value. So time value of money is a good thing to think about when you are over budgeting.
So if I am to define Harsh and Kshitij, that what is that one thing money meant for you while growing up in your households? So if you could define that in one word, and probably of course you
want
can
to take this part first?
exemplify on that.
Yeah, I think I would define it as security. That if you have money, basically I'm not a lavish spender, right? So if I have some pool of money, and even my parents used to behave that way, okay, in a dry day, that money helps.
Yeah.
And basically you can use that money for your needs at that point of time. So it gives me a secure feeling.
That I think most of
And
us
that
can
is what
relate
my family-
as well, right? Because we feel that tomorrow something happens to us, to our family, near and dear ones. If you have money in your account,
Right.
you'll be fine, right? What about you, Harsh?
Growing up, I think money always felt aspirational.
Okay.
The more money you have, more things you can do.
Okay.
The
more
things
freedom you
can
have to try out and
correct, try out new things, try out new experiences.
yeah.
So that I think I still feel that money is aspirational.
Okay.
What it most important thing that it gives you is the freedom to do a lot of things.
But does that come with a if as well? Because when you say aspirational, many of us would want to take it. Okay, I can buy iPhone with it. Okay, I can buy an Audi with it. Okay, I can buy XYZ with it. So it becomes more on spending thrift.
No, more than actually spending thrift. If you look at it, it's actually freedom of your decisions.
So I can basically go to a restaurant and not basically see the price tag.
Maybe
I can go
that
to-
is one decision.
And
If
you-
you're not liking any job, if you have earned that money, if you're not liking some job, you
can
can
quit
leave,
it.
you can quit it. instead of being there in the fear. So for me, it always is like aspirational that way, that it gives you freedom.
Okay. That's I think I would agree with that as well. NYVO hai, NYVO hai. What does NYVO stand for? Harsh,
Yeah. So this is a very question, a very common question that a lot of people have asked me. So it's pronounced as NYVO.
Okay. And
So
what does it actually mean?
So it's an abbreviation for new voice.
Okay.
So when we were starting the company, we wanted something very unique, and I wanted something to start with N, because my kid's name is Naisha Neil. This is my third kid. So I wanted a very unique name, but also have some meaning. So it's NYVO, abbreviation for new voice.
Okay, and I think a probable question from my end is because I want to understand why did NYVO start actually, right?
So both of us previously had a banking experience, and we were looking at bank's branch business.
Okay.
And actually, what we saw not just there, but overall in the industry is products are a lot of products are missold. Right? When I say,
if you could give examples, that would be.
When I say missold, for example, someone is missold ULIP as an investment product.
That we see a
Right?
lot.
People give that ki haan, matlab this will give you a lot of wealth, which is not true.
It'll give you a wealth plus insurance.
Exactly, and that's the worst combination possible. Second, the insurance they actually require is not given, but a product with highest commission is sold.
Correct.
Something like hospital cash.
You come from the industry, so you know the very first payment, 70% of it is going to the insurance agent.
Exactly.
Or the agent who is involved in that.
And if you see, this has been in reports. Now, if we see a macro look, you see so many influencers these days actually advising people on products, how to optimize credit cards, invest in this, invest in that, which is actually giving more stress to people than solving their problem.
Yeah, and they are getting encouraged to buy more credit cards. Ultimately, they should
Exactly.
be telling you don't need more than 2 credit cards, or I don't know
Correct.
what is solving the problem. But I think I'll come back to.
So I have one example. What Kshitij said was like this one is registered in investment advisor, but also a very big influencer, and they do a lot of these master classes on a weekly basis. And in the master class, one of the chapter was how some part of your money you should invest in crypto to earn additional alpha.
Okay.
You pay 300 rupees and the advice that you are getting is crypto mein invest kar lo. So wrong on so many levels.
Especially for Indian families.
Yeah, because I also see it quite often. They'll say, put that much money which you can forget. And even if you lose, so it's like gambling. You're saying you put 10,000, you can afford to.
But then let's go to Goa only.
Go to 1 lakh.
Let's go to Goa ना यार, वो फिर करते हैं गैम्बलिंग ही करते हैं ना फिर अच्छे से. मतलब रियलिटी में बोल रहा हूँ कि क्रिप्टो करना है, जिसको करना है करो. But I think that advice should not be there ना कि जितना पैसा लूज कर सकते हो उतना कर लो. So that is what something we actually very much want to break as a whole myth. कि boss, this is not the way your every money should work.
No, I think the audience would love to know that what are you building as a part of NYVO, because they would love to hear, are you bringing in something new in the market? What's it? Because new voice stands for something new that you're bringing into this financial market.
So what we're trying to build here is that any financial advice, if you look at it today in India, is in a way curated to be given to the top 0.5% of the wealthy guys. All your wealth managers, private bankers are working in that direction only.
Even the ads which you see in everything, they'll say Kotak Wealth Services or these wealth services for the ultra rich.
Ultra rich, no? Yeah. PMS, if you look at PMS, it's 50 lakh rupees and plus. So what our goal is, actually we are trying to build a similar platform for specifically for Indian families, not maybe the 0.5% or but for generally for every Indian family. So
it's for everyone. Harsh, I hope you would want to have those ultra night lights also.
Yeah. But for me, the goal is the next, whatever, like 99.5, where everyone, even the customer has 500 rupees or 500 crore, can get the best advice that is possible that the 0.5% is getting. For everything from investments to insurance, everything at just one single place.
No, that brings me to another interesting question because I myself, I'm very fond of checking out new apps which advise you something, bring up certain goals and things. So since you said you help with respect to financial planning, I've seen a lot of apps coming up. I think one I remember I started was wealthy.in. There's one I remember Kubera. And these apps, were very customer friendly because they used to say, choose a goal. So I was young at that time in college. I chose a goal. I want to buy a bullet, and then probably my new goal would be to go for a year. So these goal oriented apps are there. So how are you different with respect to these apps? That would be lovely for the audience also to understand.
So I think there are two, three things where we come as a different player. First, we are focus a lot on helping them make the goal. So right now, what is happening is they will ask you to create a goal, then they will ask you the amount of the goal, and then they start selling you the product by suggesting the portfolio, etc. But first, we want to see that if that goal work out or not. So see, you overall have over a long term, there are three, four primary goals only. That first, you want to peacefully retire. Second, you want to provide best education to your children, right? And then maybe you want to have a dream home, right? And rest of your goals comes later. So as you were saying for bullet
goals, I would say these are all discretionary goals,
Right.
which I think take priority one when we decide. So
They are actually lifestyle goals. They are not stability goals. That's my view. Like, so we are trying to prioritize the stability goals first. Tell the customer that this is actually your goal. After doing all the things that is required, then come to the lifestyle that okay, now this is the amount that is available for you for the lifestyle. Okay, enjoy. Do whatever you want to do.
So as you said, you were able to add goal for bullet. Right. Their aim is not to tell if buying bullet is right now or not. They will just tell you invest in this portfolio for buying the bullet. That we don't want to do. We want
I
to.
think I've seen in youngsters, because we work, we play with everyone, the Gen Z also, and we have realized that there is a terminology which is very common. You live only once. So if you don't spend now, if you don't spend on yourself as of now, then what will you do with this money? So that kind of stability goals take a backseat, and these lifestyle or discretionary goals somehow take priority. So how do you think you would want to talk to such audience?
Yeah, because in reality, what is whenever we say that retirement or a financial independence sort of a goal, I think if you ask any Gen Z today, their topmost goal in life is I want to be financially free.
That's a very buzzword.
These are financially free. I want to be just a master of my own time. In reality, so if you look at my product that we are trying to build, is the top goal that we want to actually give to the customers also is that be financially free. So you live only once, 100% agree, बहुत अच्छी बात है, सब कुछ अच्छा है. आप मोबाइल फोन भी खरीदो, आप BMW भी खरीदो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सब कुछ खरीदो. बट आपका फाइनेंशियली फ्री वाला तो गोल तो दैट इज एन एस्पिरेशन, दैट इज समथिंग दैट वी ऑल ऑफ अस वांट्स टू अचीव. ठीक है, तो वो हम पहले फोकस कर रहे हैं. आप उसको स्टेबिलिटी में डाल लो, आप उसको कैसे भी डाल लो, कैसे भी देख लो, बट आई थिंक this is something that everyone, even Gen Z, millennials, or what do you call the earlier one, boomers. I don't know if I'm millennial. So ठीक है, तो मेरे को लगता है कि सबको चाहिए होता है, सबको फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. So that is what our focus is. Yeah.
And just to add here, when they will be able to see, okay, by buying BMW today, how that fire is getting affected, right? When they will have that view
what
of
is your
that
age of retirement,
how it is increasing actually practically by adding just those things and getting advice on
that
the
40
app.
becomes 50 just because of BMW
Yeah.
is what.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Let's
that
think
will
about
be
it,
the
no?
point it will hit them. Okay,
Correct.
if they should buy it or not. Right now they have their salary, they don't have that view.
Correct.
If how it will affect their life.
No, that's a lovely answer, because that fire, that financially freedom, that financial freedom, all these buzzwords which we hear, or I would say is available in the market, we don't realize what it actually means and where should we get started with. So I think kudos to both of you for starting this. What is that one hard thing which you find difficult to, I would say, work with your own finances?
For me, I would say the biggest challenge has been managing finances of my wife.
Okay.
she will kill me for it, telling this. But to make her how she should plan her SIPs, how she should invest on the day of receiving the salary, making that as her habit has been the most challenging for me.
But this मेरे को लगता है कि this is common for all the like for me it's been like 13 years of marriage. Same thing, same problem has happened, and but I'm trying to change this. I'm trying to instill this as a habit in my daughter.
I think I would say this is not something prejudiced, but somehow in Indian families, I think we have seen fathers take care of finances. So probably you are coming from that point of view, and you would want to change that. And everyone, I think we have seen females changing that. We have the CEOs of different mutual funds now being female, right? So that is changing, but in everyday life, I understand.
And hope it will change with next generation completely. Like many fathers should take that initiative to start involving daughters from day one.
Day one, yes. I think that's a lovely take. I think that brings me to another question, which is more like, okay, someone watching this content, trying to listen to what NYVO does, what is it solving for them in everyday lives. For someone, let's say a person working in IT in Bangalore, Mumbai, it can be any one city. Let's say he's earning 2 lakh rupees per month. His EMIs are, let's say, 30,000 per month. His expenses are 1 lakh per month. I would assume that would be the case. So let's say he's making 70,000 as savings, which I would call it. And he comes to you and say, boss, solve me two things. One is I want to save for my child's future. It's more like his education. And second is I also want to buy my own house. So how will you go about talking to a person like this? Because this is, I think, people watching this would relate to it a lot.
Got it. So basically, overall, he has three goals. Like you mentioned two, which is child education and house. And third, obviously, you want to retire peacefully at some point of time. Right? So he would have these three goals, and that he will need to achieve over next 10, 20 years till he is 60, right? He or she is 60.
Yeah.
So overall, the way to divide is, see, overall his expenses are 1 lakh. So around in today's term, he will need around 25, 30 times of that
at least
amount to retire easily of his annual amount. So it will come out to be around 3-4 CR. Then his child's education is there, so that add another 50 lakhs to that, and he wants to buy a home as well.
Correct.
Right?
That will increase the EMI.
That will increase the EMI and lower the savings. So first, he shouldn't buy home without clearing the other loan. Okay. Second, he should see how if that 70,000 and increasing their salary, let's say by 8 to 10%, which is common, will he be able to achieve these three goals or not? Okay. And then basis that he can prioritize these goals.
So because that's a very good point. Sorry for cutting you out. What I would love for the audience to reiterate or understand from this is, don't pile up your EMIs and don't start 2 to 3 EMIs concurrently. First, wrap up your first EMI and then probably plan for your next big EMI in future. I think that's a lovely answer. Sorry, you were saying something more as well.
So yeah, in these two goals like retirement and child, he has to do.
He has to.
Right, and then we will allocate his savings towards those first, and then we will see if house is possible or not in that overall context.
Okay, that I have another question on this, because when you talk about savings, you then think about putting it somewhere, right? So congratulations on getting the SEBI license as well. So I have a question from a customer point of view. I come to you during this time of I would say Nifty or equity market, which is on a lower trend, and somehow I feel certain mutual funds are underperforming, or they are not as per what I would love to have them perform, like 12%, 13% per annum. Simple example is a lot of us invested in quant funds, and now see where they are. They're not even in the top 10 or top 15 performing funds. So how would you go about talking about these funds to people? Would you advise them to switch immediately? How would you go about it?
So the way you should think about it is like, if so there is a market which keeps going up and down. Okay, so all the funds have invested in somewhere in the securities, so they will also go up and down. Okay, this is a very normal phenomena that is happening. Okay, we should just, instead of focusing on the day-to-day ups and downs, think about if there is a fundamental issue in the holdings of that fund, or the fundamental issue in the fund.
But
Like,
I think I'll stop you there because I myself, I feel I don't analyze the holdings.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I'll just say I have put my money and the rest the mutual fund has to perform.
Correct. So that's where we come. Okay, that's where we come. Let's just take an example, very simple example. HDFC Flexi Cap Fund.
Now
One of the
best
top performing fund of India. Everyone keeps talking about it. Kshitij Jain was the CIO at that point of time. They had taken some of the biggest bets in PSUs, then
Correct.
bets in SBI associate banks. Okay, and it was one of the slow starters, but today it is one of the top performing funds.
I
So-
think 2015, 16 banks, PSU banks were like garbage for people because
Absolutely.
their money like was washed off 70-80%
Absolutely.
of their money. But who knew they'll come back so
Correct.
fast? Yeah.
So think about it. So don't worry about the ups and downs here and there. If it's a fundamental problem, a fundamental issue is there, then I think focus on that. And that is, I'm sure it's not your job. That is our job. And hopefully we'll be able to do that job better to tell you exactly if this is a fund you should exit or this is a fund you should keep.
I know this is another follow-up question because I love talking about it because when you said it took a long-term bet, you see from 2008 to let's say
Correct.
2020, it was 12 years. Now it's the best performing fund. So we have crossed that 15-year mark.
Correct.
And when we hear people, on advertisements or influencers talking about, okay, you invest 10,000 per month, after 20 years, you'll get this much amount, blah, blah, blah. And people get scared that should I have to wait or will I have to wait 20 years, to get that incremental amount? So that becomes a bit of scary. So would you advise that people should, if they enter equity market, should they keep that longer time frame or how should they go about it? Or is it again dependent on goals? What do they want to achieve?
So yeah, here actually where goals help actually, if you see, right? If there is a retirement goal and it is 20 years away, then you don't need to worry about these fluctuations that is happening because market has been giving good returns. If you are staying in India and if India will grow, the markets will grow. And that the
बुरा अगर होगा तो सबके साथ होगा, आपके किसी के
Correct.
साथ नहीं होगा, right?
एग्जैक्टली मतलब देन तो फिर इंडिया की रुपी की वैल्यू ही नहीं रहेगी ना, मतलब देन तो इट डजंट मैटर आफ्टर अ पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. So the markets, India is structurally strong.
Yeah.
And the markets will structurally perform in long term. You don't need to worry about these small fluctuations. Don't invest money that you require next 2 years, all of that in equity. That is not advisable, right? The money that you require in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years tenure, invest those money in equity and see the potential. Actually, it will grow much more than you have imagined.
No, I align with that. I think that's a very powerful statement.
So I have one point to add here. So if you look at some of the best investors in India who have made actually great amount of money in stock markets or equity markets, actually if you analyze each and every one of them, there is only one common factor, which is consistency with patience.
And time basically.
Patience. Patience. You talk about some of the best investors, Mr. Damani, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, some of the bets that they have taken, they have given multifold returns. Okay, and some of them have given like 16,000x times returns. Okay, the point, I'm not trying to say that, okay, we think about this is in a queue, I will buy one stock today and it will 20 years it will become. My only point I'm trying to make is that patience and consistency has made the maximum amount of money than anything else.
I think that's very much aligned. And when you enter equity markets, you need to have that mindset.
Correct.
That brings me to another question, which is slightly different from the equity part of thing, but which is like, because you will be talking to folks, family finance, I would say, and I would want to hear from you. Is there something I would like to understand? Is there a mistake which Indian families are making on an day-to-day basis, which they're not intentionally making, but somehow they're making those mistakes and they're not realizing it? So do you think, is there something wrong in the system?
For me, I think the biggest mistake Indian families do is not talk about their finances.
My mother doesn't talk about it, so I can relate.
Yeah, so my parents till I was 25 wouldn't have talked about their finances, how they are managing expenses, what assets they have, all of those things. We are very shy of talking their finances. यार मैंने 2 डिग्रियां ले ली आईटी की आईएम की and still they don't trust me to talk about their finances.
So you're still a kid to them, right?
Exactly. So I think the what Indian families need to do more about first within themselves talk more about their finances. That's how next generation will learn, and then take help wherever required about finances.
But one thing I also feel, I strongly feel what he said is that we don't talk too much between our family also कि कितना कमा रहे हैं, कितना है, नहीं है. ठीक है. One thing that which I think people are still doing a lot is, noise based buying of things. ठीक है. सामने वाले को देखकर ऑडी खरीद ली उसने तो मैं भी खरीदूंगा.
अभी सिल्वर ऊपर गया सबने.
हाँ, अभी सेकंड लोग अभी सिल्वर बोल रहा है. तो मतलब मैं भी बोल रहा हूँ कि नॉइज बेस्ड परचेजिंग ऑल्सो एंड इन्वेस्टिंग ऑल्सो, कि दैट कुछ ना कुछ बस हम सामने वाले ने बोल रहे हैं तो खरीदना है. आप वही चीज को अगर आप शांति से बैठकर आपको देख लो कि आपके लिए अच्छा है नहीं अच्छा है, then it's good, then buy. So this is in my view, I think,
Right.
not talking and then noise based is what at least
This noise based investing would have led to everyone buying LIC policies.
I would love
Right.
to agree with that.
मतलब मेरे पेरेंट्स के पास है, मतलब पूछ लेते. So that would have been better.
अभी तुम छोटे थे ना उस समय. तुम्हें नहीं पता था उस समय.
My mother uses a proverb for it. It's like you're selling a comb to the bald guy. So that's what LAC folks. That's what she says. But anyways, it was great talking to you. Lovely talking to you to hear
Thanks
your
a lot.
mistakes. First of all, how you unlearned them and how you're working on your finances day to day. And this is what we would want to cover in our show, where we would talk about your living room finances. We would want you to come up, be open, be transparent, talk about it, and here are the right experts with you who would help you with those financial plan of action that prioritizes not just based on your discretionary or lifestyle goals, that also fixes your finance in day-to-day life. So thanks everyone for watching.